I've already been introduced. My name's Niamh Donnellan and I'm the Heritage Week Project Manager. I've been working on Heritage Week for, this is the 5th year I've been working on it. So this year our theme is Pastimes, Past Times. And it's a very broad theme. I think everyone in the room can come up with great ideas around it. But I'm just going to give you a flavour of what we were thinking when we decided on the theme. Our theme is always based on, or loosely based on what comes from the European Heritage Days theme. So there's a European theme of arts and entertainment this year, and for Ireland we decided to personalise that and make it about our pastimes, our hobbies, and what we do in our free time. We think that offers everyone some scope to get imaginative about what events they're going to run this year. So it's about taking a stroll through history and seeing how our pastimes have evolved in often fascinating ways. Some examples. This is in the National Museum of Ireland Archaeology, and it's a Viking board game. You can imagine kids just being fascinated by the fact that Vikings played board games too. Donnybrook Fair from the 1850 something. It is hanging in the National Gallery, and at a quick glance it looks something like Electric Picnic does today. The Liffey Swim from Jack B. Yeats. These are all kind of starting points and inspirations for talks or walks, or taking objects that you have and sharing their stories. Maybe the evolution of graffiti over time would make for an interesting topic as well. And it's all about engaging people and getting them to think in different ways about how people in the past, they weren't just fighting wars and surviving, they were also having fun and entertaining themselves. That's from the Flag Hill back in the day. And imagine explaining this to a 10-year-old, and this is very recent history. But even things like that, explored in a new way, can be fascinating to younger audiences. So enough of that. I'm sure you have plenty of your own ideas, and you will certainly by the end of the day. But why are you here today? I'd say everyone would give me a different reason. These are some of the feedback that we've got back over the years around building a sense of community in a new build or an existing area, opening a listed building to the public, attracting more members to your local historical group. There's lots of reasons to get involved. You all know them, and you all have your own personal reasons. To give you an idea of the breakdown of who takes part in Heritage Week, and it's very much reflected in the room here today, it's really driven by the community and voluntary sector. 54% last year of event organisers, and there's about 1,200 event organisers across the country, were community and voluntary sector. The public sector would make up a big percentage. That would be museums and libraries and the OPW, who are all very actively involved in Heritage Week. And then the private sector is also a growing group, and that would be businesses, whether that's tourism businesses or heritage businesses, or even private businesses who just happen to live or work in listed buildings or have a very interesting industrial heritage history of their own. Why does the Heritage Council do Heritage Week? It's for answers like this to an audience survey that we do each year. 95% of people attending Heritage Week events agreed that due to Heritage Week, I learned things about heritage which I would not have learned otherwise. And that's what we want to get out of Heritage Week. It's about showcasing the work that you do. It's about awareness, engagement, and participation with heritage. And Heritage Week is the big event, big public event of the year where the Heritage Council gets to do that. We see it as a gateway to heritage. In our annual audience survey, we ask people a variety of questions. One answer that you can look at it two ways, I suppose. Were it not for Heritage Week, I would not have visited a heritage site this summer. Now, 50% of people agree, which you can see is a great pity, but you can also see that those 50% would not have engaged with heritage sites at all if it wasn't for Heritage Week. And to us, we see that as a win. And following on from that, people are saying, I will probably visit heritage sites and attend heritage events at other times of the year as a result of my Heritage Week experience. And that's over 90% of attendees. And that's a real win for us, because Heritage Week is not just about the week itself, it's about getting people in the door, it's about getting people to your events so that they come back over the course of the year, that they join your society, that they decide to make a weekly or a monthly thing of going to a museum or going to a heritage site. And it's about it being a part of their lives and their routines and their children's lives and routines. So we have a great awareness of Heritage Week across the country. Nearly 60% of people in Ireland are aware of Heritage Week. They know it happens. And around 500,000 people each year take part in it, and the numbers are growing every year. The audience that you're looking to attract to your events, it's mostly people attending with friends and family, but also couples, clubs and societies, and people going along to events on their own. And it's important that they feel welcome to attend without kids in tow or without a big group. Very important to remember the kids. If you are planning an adults event, think about doing a kids version. If you're planning an open day, make sure kids are going to find it as interesting as the rest of the family. 50% of people who go to Heritage Week events bring their kids. It's at the end of the summer holidays. They're looking for something to do. Why not make it your event? And this is a lovely summary of why people get out and go to Heritage Week events. Makes them aware of events happening in their local area, shows them what their local community are up to, how amazing their heritage is, and it really gives families and everybody the opportunity to enjoy experiences that are not only free or reasonably priced, but varied, enjoyable, interesting, informative, entertaining and memorable. That's all the words we love to see when people are describing Heritage Week. So on to the support that we're going to offer you and that we offer all of the event organisers during Heritage Week. Obviously today is the start of some of your interaction with us with event planning information, but our website is a font of information, and so is the Heritage Council website. So do take a look. There's presentations from previous training days. There's lots of notes and information, PR guidance. There'll be logos and branding later in the year. So do delve into that, particularly if it's the first event that you're organising. We do a national PR and advertising campaign that will kick off later in the summer. We've an e-zine with about 30,000 subscribers, and we send out updates about Heritage Week and highlight events and things coming up to the public. We've a printed event guide. Event registration opens on the 1st of May, and if you register your event before the end of May, your event will be included in the printed event guide, which will be available from mid-July. We also offer branded materials. In past years, that's been bunting and flags, stickers, posters, and this year we'll be doing a similar event organiser pack, which you do have to opt into so that there's as little wastage as possible when you register your event. We also offer PR guidance around Heritage Week, and that's on our website, from sample press releases to advice on pitching your event to local media and radio, to advice on actually doing radio interviews. So there's a wealth of information there, and actually someone from Susie from our PR agency Think House is here today, down the back waving. So if you do have a specific question, you can you've my permission to annoy her on her tea break. But we're always here for advice, particularly if we'd love to know if you get national attention for your event, because we can kind of amplify that with our resources as well. And then we have an event organizer Facebook group. And if you're not on that, it's a really useful resource for asking questions, finding out a bit of information, finding out who's doing events locally to you as well. If you go to our Facebook page, you'll find a link to it. And I think it's called something like National Heritage Week Event Organisers. And it's a closed group you have to ask to join. And it's a handy way of keeping in touch with the people that you meet here today. So this is some of the support we offer around town. You will start seeing that later in the summer. And the branding that you'll be able to use at your events. And then what do you need to do? We can only do so much, and our support is certainly focused on a national level. At a local level, it's really up to you to push your events. This is sources of information for audiences for Heritage Week. Social media is above and beyond all else. So do share it across all your social media channels. Then there's some areas that we step in, the Heritage Week website, the event guide. Word of mouth is very important. We've got feedback from event organisers on all the ways that they promote their events, from local posters to just letting people know, to letting schools know, to letting clubs know, to getting themselves into their parish newsletter. It's amazing the breadth of ways that you can spread the word. Our email obviously gets the word out there, but also your own email lists are very important. Some counties have a County Heritage Week event guide, and that's coordinated by the heritage officers of the county, depending on their budget and resources. We do send our lists of events to them, so if you register nationally, you will be included in a local event guide if there's one available. Libraries are great at spreading the word. We send our event guides to them, but if you have your own posters or information, do get involved with them. And then if you have the budget, of course, there's local press advertising, but we would say with the local media, it's well worth picking up the phone and just letting them know about your event. And oftentimes they'll be willing to do editorial, send a photographer out, chat to you about the event before it happens. And do check in with your local tourist office. We are part funded by Fáilte Ireland, and there is always a percentage of tourists that go to events, depending on what town or area of the country you're in. And we've got great feedback from them. They tend to stumble across the events, but when they do, they're absolutely delighted to be part of a community event where they get to talk to local people and not just be on the tourist trail. So Virginia mentioned the special days that we have during Heritage Week, and they'll be mentioned later on in the day as well by various speakers. But just to make a note, that Wild Child Day is on the Wednesday of Heritage Week. It's a great opportunity to engage with kids and families. They're still on their summer holidays, they're looking for something to do midweek, and if you are planning an outdoor or nature-based event, it's a great day to do it. Water Heritage Day, in partnership with the local authority Waters programme. Alan will be talking to us about it later today, and that's the second Sunday of Heritage Week. And if your event has anything to do with the water, or you're living in a place that's a coastal place or a place by a river or canal, do think about getting involved with that. And that's our final statistic, which I always think is very impressive. 100% of people who go to National Heritage Week would recommend it to a friend, and 99% of event organisers would take part in Heritage Week again. That's really great to know, and we want to keep it that way. So do let us know if you've any feedback from today, from planning your event, after your events. Keep in touch and let us know what you think. And there's my contact details. I'm going to be emceeing the day, so I'm going to pass you on now to Elaine O'Connor from Magnum Events, who's going to be talking about the nuts and bolts of event planning.